All right, so ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago I told you we would finish up this Geno Kyle podcast, and last week we had folks from Digital Dealer on. We're currently at Digital Dealer, and so I thought I'd take the time to let you hear the questions, right? We're going to go through a quick question and answer period with the one and only Geno Kyle, man, one of the best closers in the entire universe. Check it out.
M3.
Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast, the
M3.
#1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners
M3.
to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4,
M3.
This is such clear, concise. We've got a lot of questions that our members have actually DM'd me or text me, okay? So we've got about 11 of these right here. So we're gonna try to shotgun them. So how does Geno overcome addendums? So I'm assuming is that, let's just pretend that you're at a dealership that's got addendums, and somebody comes in and is like, I don't want to pay over sticker for a vehicle, or I don't want to have like etch and this, that, or whatever. So how do you overcome addendums, or how do you suggest that?
I think the number one thing is, if I were a salesperson, I haven't seen things like this stand in the way of us doing business. But the most important part of my job right now is making sure that the car that we're in front of is the right car for you. And if this is that big of a concern to you, as we get deeper into the deal, I'll have a manager address that with you.
Fair enough.
Think about it. And I say this to all of these young salespeople out here. Here's the thing about it. Your customer is going to try to put you in positions and back you in the corners as if you are a decision maker, and you're not a decision maker. And I'm not saying that to put you down. I think that's a great luxury for you to have. I don't know if they'll take it off or not, but I'll let somebody else address that with you. You know what I mean? I know we won't lose your business over $299. I know we won't lose your business over $199. But what it is you're concerned about is outside my decision-making process. But let me reassure you of this: just as if I'm going to find you the car that you want to find parked in your driveway, I'm going to find someone that'll make a decision that you can be comfortable with. And then I'd move out of the way.
That's strong. Okay, good.
I'm moving out of the way.
Mhm.
I was good at that as a salesperson. Oh, don't worry about that. I'll put you in front of somebody that'll get that away. You know what I mean? This ain't shit. I'm getting ready to sell a car right now. And here's another thing. And I always looked at it when I was a kid like it was chess, it wasn't checkers, because there's no way that you can really let my car deal walk out of here. You're not going to let a $29,000 car deal fall apart over $299. I'm not going to let you stand in the way. I'll just go find another manager to say, yeah. I'll go find Geno. He'll discount that shit $299. I'm selling the car today. So I'm not going to let that stand in my way of me selling the car, right?
Hell no.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
I love it. Okay, next question. Geno, how do you overcome the new car inventory? So there's obviously a lack of new car inventory. It's getting a little bit better, but it ain't what it was before the pandemic. So how do you handle that?
I think it's so important that people understand that with this lack of availability, there's going to be a lack of opportunities. I mean, if I've got the only white 2023 Toyota Camry SE in town, and you know there aren't very many of them, I think the lack of inventory justifies why you should do it, and do it right now. I think I would take that lack of inventory and I would turn that to my advantage to create a higher sense of urgency behind why Mr. and Mrs. Kyle, if the car is here, I think you need to do it right now.
Okay, I would agree with that, Geno, 100%. So the statement you just said is 1000% accurate. I support that we should be able to create the hyper urgency now. But I think the question is, let's say you've got a prospect that's coming in that's looking for a new vehicle that you just don't have in stock. And a lot of dealers are not dealer trading right now because it's war out there. It's every dealer for themselves. So I think the question is more specifically, how do you deal with the lack of inventory? if you've got a potential prospect. So Malik comes into the dealership right now, and he's looking to buy a vehicle, but you don't have that vehicle available.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it more important that Malik get that vehicle, or does he have to buy that vehicle brand new? Because I do have an option of that exact car on the used car side with low miles on it. So not only can I get you the car you want, I can get you in a car with unusually low miles and save you maybe $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in comparison to what it would be to buy a brand new one that's not even here. Or we could travel the road of you leaving me at a deposit and I'll order you one, and then you can take delivery of your new car when it gets here. None of the options that I'm leaving you with are not to buy a car from me. I'm not leaving you with an option not to buy. Would you entertain?
What do you find? Now let's go through your real life now, because that was your opinion and I respect it and I agree with you. But let's go now into not just theory or opinion. How are you handling that at your dealership? What's working the best? Like, sincerely, is it flipping people to use? Is it more direct orders, or is it flipping to, to a similar new vehicle? What do you find the most success, as a high level manager at a dealership in Indiana?
I think, man, with the available inventory is starting to pick back up, but I think the options of some of the inventory that's coming in, it's not like what a lot of people had anticipated a lot of before. I'll give you a perfect example. You may have 23, 24 crew cab Chevy pickup trucks out there, but if they're the 2.7 liter and they're not the 5.3 liter, you're leaving, though you have new car inventory, you're leaving a less desirable truck that's sitting there. But at the same time, if you could walk across the lot and I've got that exact truck in a 5.3 and it's got 5,000 miles on it and it's $4,000 cheaper, some people would be like, well, let me look at it. And we get used car business from that. So, I mean, obviously, if you don't have that new car in inventory and you know and understand the capacity of your used car inventory, you need to be able to, you should be able to offer that to someone as well.
Let me be specific. Here's my question as a sales manager. Okay. What do you say to the salespeople that are using this as a bullshit excuse? Now, it's an excuse. And the reason why I say it's bullshit is because you know how people use crutches. Oh, it's the customer. Oh, it's this. It's like, I can't sell shit. And they try to justify their mediocrity because there's no new car inventory. That's who I want you to talk to, is the salesperson that's saying, I'm not selling cars because we don't have, enough new car inventory. What do you say to those people?
Well, let me ask you, for the new car inventory that you do have, how are you promoting what's there?
Ooh.
So let me ask you, I mean, like, let's just say you don't have 400 Equinoxes on your lot, but you've got 50 Equinoxes. If you're only going to sell one car to one customer anyway. So
Right.
Shouldn't you be marketing the inventory you have to the people that might have interest in buying?
Why would I do that? I'm not the marketing manager. I'm just the salesperson.
Well, I think a lot of that, one of the things that we have bad habits of as salespeople, we tell ourselves a lot of communal lies. We tell ourselves lies to stroke our egos. I just don't feel like doing it today, or my foot was hurting, or, lot traffic was slow. That's bullshit. The lot traffic wasn't slow. You were slow. That's always my response to my salespeople. Oh, it's slow out there. No, you slow in here. It's not slow out there, because somebody is selling somebody somewhere. Somebody is marketing cars somewhere. So don't tell me that you don't have any new car inventory and that's why you can't sell new cars. Because I was working at a dealership. We had a record new car month and we had no new cars.
Repeat that.
We practically had we had a record new car month and ended up number one in the state of Indiana and number one in the city, and we had no new cars. We didn't have 50 new cars on the lot, but we sold like 135 to 150 new. We were selling them off the truck. Like, I'll give you a perfect example of always, like what you guys are always talking about. Repeat customers 7 times more likely to come back and buy a vehicle from you. We were selling cars to repeat customers and we're pulling them out of their trades early before their new ones came in here. There's an opportunity there if you can figure it out, but you do have to figure it out.
No, you said it, I think, and I don't really hear it being said enough, and damn sure not by management. It's usually trainers or some, subject matter expert, but you hit it on the head. Okay, you might not, instead of focusing on what you don't have. Okay, Dr. Covey says from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, circle of influence versus circle of concern. What that means is, people tend to focus on shit they have no control over. The majority of ineffective people, non-successful people, focus on what they can't control. Truly effective people, truly successful people focus on what they can control, their attitudes, thoughts, actions, and behaviors. So again, yeah, you're not the owner. You might not be able to do anything about the new car inventory that you don't have, but what are you doing with the new car inventory that you do have? What are you doing to promote, to evangelize, to syndicate, to try to sell that vehicle? I thought that was money right there. Okay, next question, because I know we got to hit these. How to close when the buyer wants a vehicle that we cannot get our hands on. So this is similar, but it's a little bit specific. Okay, so this is somebody that's saying, I want this particular vehicle. And we just can't get it.
Well, you can't sell somebody something that you don't have.
Right.
So, that's not a strike against you as a closer.
I
agree. Here, there's never a strike against you as a closer when you don't have a product that you can sell them. So you got to have a product. You have to have a product that can be sold. That's not a deficiency of you. You just don't own the car.
All right. So the next question, I would agree with you. The next question, how to close a customer on a higher payment. So what's the skill as a closer to bump the person to a higher payment? Like, how do you turn on and do that?
Well, it all goes back to qualifying, right? If you qualify them right, and then there's a variable that is involved that we haven't spoken of. If there is a trade with a payoff, yes, it could skew a number in regards to making the payment go higher, but like only in time, and you'll be, as you do more deals, you'll start to understand that. But when it comes to bumping a person in a payment, you need to first of all look at, is the car that you have them on, is it capable of extending financing terms to lower the payment to meet that desire? Or more importantly than anything else, are you in a comfortable range of a payment bump if that deal is close enough? And I think a lot of that, Sean, and you may agree with me, you may not, but I think a lot of that comes down to the skill set of the salesperson. I've had guys tell me I can bump a guy $200 a month and go out there and bump him $200 a month. I've had guys tell me I can comfortably bump a guy $100 a month. They go out there and bump him $100 a month. But then I looked at it too. All these guys that told me they could bump a guy $100 a month, $200 a month, I looked at them and I started laughing because they've been pulling the wool over my eyes. They were my salespeople and they were bumping them $100 a month when they were qualifying.
I would agree, but I'd like you to, I guess, deliver not the bad news, but the reality check. So I think the question specifically, how do you present to somebody the scenario? So if I'm looking at the $450 a month, right? And the reality adjustment is going to be $500 a month. I think we need to hear the master Geno Kyle basically present that bump. Like, how would you go tell me that news?
Sean, I went up there and put the $3,000 down and your desire to be at $450 a month with my boss. He plugged in the numbers with $3,000 down and your payments came out to be $471 a month. Now, man, if you don't have any objections about moving forward, I'll get your signature on that one and we'll go ahead and move forward with your deal.
So that, as a trainer, is called an assumptive transition. I love it. And what I'm hearing from my audience is this: you're not just deploying it and then closing your eyes and crossing your fingers like, I hope that shit works. What you're doing is you're deploying that reality check with confidence, with professionalism, yes. But then you're transitioning to keep the process moving down the course of the sale. Can you elaborate on that?
And here's another thing. Remember when we asked him to share with us what he was thinking, and he said $3,000 down, right? So when I went back up and we legitimately done it, when you plug those numbers into the system, here's where your payments fell out. So I'm not coming back with $489 to $499. This is what my boss said. No, we plugged in the numbers that you wanted to use, and here's where your payment fell out. And obviously, here's the adjustment in between the two.
All right. So now I just, it blows my mind how managers like don't empower their salespeople with these little nuggets. These little nuggets are what's going to really make the difference and really improve the conversion ratios. I just think about it and I'm like, man, why is it so difficult for managers to do this, to give these little nuggets? Why people need a podcast because they can't get what they need at home? Think about that. That's crazy.
Well, let me ask you this: like you reflect that you got a little bit like, I don't believe I'm seeing this, or I don't believe I'm reading this, but I guess I don't understand, because to me those are the footprints of the job. What are some people missing in your opinion?
Most people don't have those specific details. Usually what I'm finding, which is just, it blows me away, is they'll have a piece of paper and the manager say, here, go give them the information. They don't explain what or why. They're like, just say this, or just, go over these numbers. This is what it is. They don't give those little nuances, a little psychology. Because I think that if they explained why they're saying this or how to say something, I think they'd have more success. Do you agree?
I agree. But here's another thing, and I'm pretty sure you guys can relate to it over there, because obviously you got a world-class training organization there. But I mean, some people don't understand that in training, there's a difference between instruction and demonstration, and then being able to speak about things in theory. So, I mean, I have a lot of different conversations with my guys. We talk about things during instruction. We talk about things during demonstration, but then we also talk about things in theory, because everyone doesn't learn the same way. Does that make sense?
100%. Some
of my kids are hands-on. They want to touch it, feel it, smell it, ride in it, the whole 9 yards, but they don't necessarily grasp and understand the steps that it takes to get there. So you have to teach them in a general understanding of things in a common sense way, that if you're not doing this, this is what's going to happen to you. I try to teach my guys, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. You're going to say this and they'll respond this way, or you're going to go do this and it's going to bring forth this response. So they know the results of the wrong thing to do up front. So they know when it happens and they got to come see me, it's like, it was exactly what you said was going to happen. All right, then don't do it that way. After a while, they take off on their own.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Dealer Synergy is an award-winning training, consulting, CRM, recruiting, and accountability firm. We are a 13-time Dealer Choice Award winner. We have proudly served automotive dealers for 20 years and have trained over 150,000 automotive sales professionals. We've worked with over 3,700 rooftops across the country, not including our global clients in Canada, Russia, the Dominican Republic, and more. We are the most sought-after subject matter experts and pioneers of the automotive industry. Our executive team has a combined 75-plus years of automotive industry expertise at the highest level. We've literally taken dealerships from having challenges and problems, some even on the brink of bankruptcy, to becoming national success stories.
Dealer Synergy had really helped build something from the ground up. You guys have made me fall in love with what I've always loved to do. I give credit to Dealer Synergy.
I just hired 8 people, and Dealer Synergy HR really was critical in me being able to do it.
You provided the training, you helped us with our CRM. You provided a solution for a lot of things that I was looking for. Our people loved LA, what Karen has done for me personally. Franca, her communication back and forth. You've got a really solid group of people.
Having somebody like Sean and his company that knows automotive, so the marriage between what knowledge he possesses and the fact that he has this great video production staff, it gives you the best of both worlds. So I would certainly recommend them.
Sean comes in the dealership and he advanced us light years ahead of our competition.
Just an absolute leading edge training company.
Go to BradleyOnDemand.com and give your team access to the best automotive training in the world.
I love it. Okay, a couple more questions here. How do you close a customer on a higher interest rate?
Now I'm kind of getting to the point where, why are salespeople discussing interest rates?
Because let's say somebody, asked them a question about, what's my interest rate going to be? Or my bank says that I could get a 4.9% interest rate. If I can't get something better than that, I'm going to go through my own, financing.
I agree with you. Is there anything else? Is there anything else other than that? That seems easy enough to deal with, Sean. So obviously your decision is going to be, obviously you want some interest rates that fall in your favor that you feel comfortable with.
Correct.
We got a finance department that's in there. They have a license and a background, and they can go over all the terms and conditions that you have, and you can facilitate your loan in there. I don't facilitate loans out here. So it's not fair that I'm answering interest rate questions that you might have because I'm not a finance manager. And I don't have the license to have that discussion with you about your credit worthiness. We've got people that we pay here for that.
Okay. So what you're saying, which I would concur, is that dealing with explaining finance rates or trying to present a higher finance rate situation should not come from the salesperson.
There's no way that shit should come from a salesperson. Why would you put a person in a situation that they're not apt to handle, nor do they have the depth, nor do they have the position to be discussing that with your customer? That's not even an objection. That just doesn't make sense. They shouldn't be doing that.
I would agree.
They shouldn't be doing it.
But it's happening all across the country right now. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of finance questions that are being answered by the sales rep. And I agree. You're putting the salesperson in an unfair, situation. And then on top of that, some salespeople, I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, they don't get paid on the back end. And so some of them are not really interested in trying to answer that the right way. Not only not qualified, they're not motivated properly to be able to handle that situation.
And I think it's like this. At some point in time, you got to recognize when somebody needs to get up off their ass and do their job. Here, I've seen F&I guys pencil a deal and send a salesperson out to close it. That's bullshit. That's not cool. I didn't send you out there when I wanted the car sold. So why are you sending them out here with payments? Next time I'm a qualified customer, I'm gonna come into your office and I'm gonna get you out of it, and I want you to go sell a car. Right? What type of shit is that? Excuse my language. Well, what type of
this
shit?
is my show. We can say shit like whatever.
Why? Think about it like this, dog. Why am I performing the job you get paid for?
Exactly.
Yeah. Why am I doing the job that you get paid for?
All right. So then let's go back to this. We got about 5 more quick questions. How to close a customer who wants a vehicle below MSRP. So let's say you're at a dealership and your policy is to sell at list. How do you deal with it? Let's say I'm the customer and we're sitting down and I'm like, Geno, I'm not paying sticker. I don't want to pay sticker for the vehicle, but I love the vehicle. It's not the car. It's the fact that you want me to pay sticker.
So the one thing standing in the way is you paying the price that you feel comfortable paying to buy and drive it home.
To be more specific, I don't want to pay the sticker price. I've never paid sticker price before in my life, and I'm not about to start right now.
Okay. Well, share with me what you were thinking.
Well, I'd like a discount.
Okay. What makes you comfortable? I don't want you to think, Sean, I'm on the other side of the table from you, because this isn't combative at all. As a matter of fact, we're just engaging in a great conversation about your perception of a deal. So I'm not asking you to exchange a commitment with me with what it is you share with me, but share with me what you were thinking.
I don't know. I would like to be able to save about $1,000 off the sticker price of the car.
So, I mean, obviously $1,000 is a great deal to you, but some substantial savings it would be good, right?
Absolutely would be good.
Okay, then here, you and I have done such a great job being on the same page with one another. The time we've spent in landing on the car, going over all the features and the benefits of it. If this is the only level of concern that you've got and it's outside my decision-making process, I've got one even better. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a decision maker. How about that?
I love it.
How about I'll go get somebody to make a decision in your favor? How about that?
I love it. I love it.
I'll be right back.
Okay, perfect. How to close a customer who wants more for their trade.
Okay. Well, what did we end up giving you for your car?
Let's just say that it was the $3,000.
Okay. Well, share with me what you were thinking.
Man, Kelly Blue Book was telling me that that's worth at least $4,500.
Did you bring any of that information that you had when you did your research at home? Did you bring
right
that
here? It's right here, Geno. I got it right here.
Well, wait a minute. I'm taking a look at that 4,500 and I'm noticing that says $4,500 retail. That doesn't have, it says $2,500 wholesale and trade in.
Oh, don't look at that number, Geno. Look at the $4,500 number. That's the number I want.
Okay, yeah, but that's retail. So that's if you were selling it at your house, that's what I should give you for it, okay? But that ain't gonna work. Is there anything else?
I love it. Okay.
Now, here's another thing too.
Yeah.
They need to fall on top of the objection. They don't need to combat it. Okay. You need to point that out to them. But if it's an issue at hand of the payment and it's $450 a month, don't sit back and combat $450 a month against $499 a month. You fall on top of that objection. So for $450 a month, you feel more comfortable moving forward. Yes. So then you get that deal locked up on that figure. And then if need be, you bring a TO to come in for the bond. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then you bring another decision maker in to adjust that deal the way they see fit. So you're not giving up gross. I'm sorry, finish what you were asking me before.
No, that was very good insight. My question was, let's just go for the trade. Let's say that wasn't it. Let's just say legitimately, because there's some situations that their number might be trade in value. So I gave you a layup over there with me having retail, which that does happen a lot. But there are some times that somebody comes in legitimately with a wholesale number, and let's just say that the KBB wholesale price was the 4,500.
Okay.
And you had a desk manager who was trying to hook the trade a little bit, was trying to make a little extra money. You know what I mean? I ain't mad at it. How do you handle that?
Well, I think if anything, you would address the condition of the trade in and that it came in. Let's just say this much, Sean. I mean, when we initially started I started asking you questions about your trade. If it was a one owner, had it ever been wrecked? Has it been serviced and maintained on a regular basis? And would you recommend it for someone else to own? Well, you told me it had been wrecked in 2012, and it does need a set of tires and a set of brakes since we drove it. It needs an overhaul and an overall tune-up. So for me to take that car in the condition that it's in, though I would love to pay 45, but looking at what we've got to spend to get it in marketable condition, I got to bring it in for 25.
Okay. All right. I love that. Got a couple more. This is next one. How to handle a customer looking to take advantage of tax credits.
When you say tax credits in regards to rebates on buying like an EV car, or tax credits in revolve on trade difference. What type of tax credits are you talking about?
Let's start with the EVs.
I think the EVs, they represent a tax credit on their own, because for a lot of them, you get like a $7,500 rebate just for the purchase of it, right?
Yeah,
So,
but there are laws that are switching. I know, for example, in 2023, it was for the EVs. I think it was you had to be a certain weight category. That's changing. So how do you handle it? So I'm a real customer. Like, hey, Geno, I'm looking to purchase the vehicle, but I'm looking for that $7,500 tax credit.
I mean, if it qualifies, then it's more than there. I can't offer you something that it doesn't qualify for. So let's talk about some of the contingencies that fall in line for you to get the $7,500 tax credit that you're looking for. And then I'll put that in front of my boss, and hopefully if they all apply, we're in a great position to move forward.
Okay, if they respond something like this, wait a minute, I'm a little confused. That makes sense what you're saying. I was confused. I thought there was just a $7,500 tax credit. I can't really afford this car without it. I just assumed that if it was all EVs had a $7,500 tax credit. I respect what you're saying. It makes sense to me that there's certain parameters, but if this vehicle doesn't qualify for that $7,500 tax credit, I can't afford this vehicle. But that's the only vehicle I came in on that I was interested in. I don't want to buy anything else except for this vehicle, but if I can't get that tax credit, I can't buy this vehicle.
So let me ask you this question, Sean. If you can't get a $7,500 tax credit on it and you can't buy this vehicle, does that mean you'll never buy one?
I don't know about never. It means I can't buy it now.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. You're looking for an EV car, right?
Yes.
Something you can be happy with?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if that car steps outside the realm of affordability for you, and the only way that we could get there is with a tax credit, and if that tax credit doesn't apply, that doesn't mean that I don't think you shouldn't buy an EV. We need to make an adjustment to buy another car that fits the realm of what it is you can afford and what you want to pay.
I'm glad this is on the airways, man. This is golden.
Because think about it. I mean, I love Rolls Royce, but if I can't afford one, that doesn't mean I'm not getting ready to drive a car. I got to have a car. So we need to figure something else out. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, here's the thing about it, man. We are so caught up in what other people say, we're not trying to influence what they do.
Ooh. Repeat that for the people. Repeat that.
You're so caught up in what people are telling you, you're not trying to influence what they're doing. You just sat up here and told me that the only way you could afford an EV car is if you had a $7,500 tax credit. So we already know if it doesn't have a $7,500 tax credit, you're not buying one. So why would we continue to have a conversation about a car you can't afford? Why would I do that? Why would you do that?
No, yeah, spot on, brother. Spot on. Okay, now we're going to shift a little bit. How do you handle new car pricing over the phone? So if I call up and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at those new Silverados. How much are they?
$53,995.
Is that the best price?
No. No,
so
it's
what's
not.
The best?
The only price that satisfies me is the one that satisfies you. The only price that satisfies me is the one that satisfies you, and that's the price that puts a car in your driveway. And we didn't become the fastest growing Chevrolet dealership in the state of Indiana by charging too much for cars. The only reason you picked up the phone and called because the availability of that car is here and the notoriety of my store is here to get you the deal you want. Speaking of which, I'd like to know, when do you want to get here? Can you make it here within the next hour, or can we get you in by 6 or 7 o'clock? Because I'm free.
Okay. How to handle leasing on an incoming vehicle? Somebody's calling about lease payments.
They're calling about lease payments?
On an incoming vehicle. It's not on ground yet, but it might be incoming.
There's a strong possibility that obviously the terms and the conditions that I'm about to quote you may change by the time your lease gets here, but at least we can have a great conversation about being in the realm of where you want to be financially. So when it does get here, hopefully they'll get better. But obviously we won't know until it arrives, and we'll find out what the financing platforms that are offered by General Motors will be. Is that okay with you?
It is absolutely perfect for me. Well said.
All right.
All right, Geno, I got Malik. Malik, you have any other questions you got? Nope. What about you, LA? Got any other questions for the master over here?
Tell LA I said what's up.
We sound a lot alike, because Malik will tell you that's one of the conversations I have with people. I talk about how just because you can't have that vehicle doesn't mean you're not going to drive. Doesn't mean
right.
You buy something. So I have that conversation a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, LA. Not buying a car for me is not an option.
There you go. That's it.
So now, all right, as we start to unwind this, brother, I mean, this was an epic, and we broke this into 2 separate podcasts. The first podcast, LA, we'll kind of share with you in post, but this last like hour and 15 minutes has just been about closing techniques and stuff. I want to ask you your opinion from your 30 plus years experience. Why do you think closing is hard for a lot of salespeople and for some of the sales managers out there? What are they overcomplicating? What are they doing wrong that's making this scary or difficult? And how do they fix it?
They're making it more complicated than it needs to be because they don't understand how simple it could be. It's and then it's the power of repetition. If as a salesperson, if I had, let's just say I had a 4 square and I woke up that morning and I did 25 reps of closing before I left to go to work. I got to work, I found my partner. In the morning, I closed 25 more deals. That afternoon, I came back and I did 25 more deals. I got home that night, I closed another 25 deals. If I did that every day, I would close the equivalent of 3,100 deals a month. How many objections do you think that you get ready to put in front of me that I can't handle if I put a training mechanism in my face that there is no way mathematically that there would be anybody that could outclose me, and I committed to that action every day? How strong of a closer do you think I would be in 6 months if I've closed 18,000 deals?
Strong as death.
When I wanted to become a manager, I woke up every morning and I completed that routine every day for 1.5 years. Without fail, because I knew if I didn't close, my daughter wouldn't eat. That was the only motivating factor that I needed. I always knew that if I can close a deal, I can make some money. If I can make some money, I can change my life. If I can change my life, I'm going to change my destiny. So the only thing that was standing in the way for me at that point in time in my life was my ability to close deals. So the only thing I trained on doing was product presentations and demonstrations and closing, mastering my inventory. And I knew nobody had follow-up skills like I had. I knew they didn't have that. Once I mastered the other three, the rest took off. What happens in the middle of closing 3,100 deals a month? You're feeling the deal. I can feel it. I don't have to hear a deal. I can feel it. I know where it's going. I know what you're about to say. I know where this is going to end up. You see what I'm saying?
100%. Listen,
Power of repetition.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience. And for our audience out there, look, I like to joke around a lot with the whole Cat Williams. It has me, I laugh every time I say this, but it's so true. A Chrysler 300 looks like a Rolls Royce Phantom until a real Rolls Royce Phantom pulls up. There's a lot of people out there spitting, this and saying that, but you just spent this entire podcast listening to a highly experienced, highly polished closer in the automotive industry. And I promise you, you've definitely learned something. If you hadn't, you must be deaf. All right. Because that shit is just, it's amazing. The fluidity of this conversation I've had with you, Geno, today. And we covered such a tremendous amount of information. So again, on behalf of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, Dealer Synergy, Bradley and the Man, and the automotive industry, thank you for being great. I mean, you set the bar of automotive excellence, and it shows not just with your skills, but your proteges, people like Chrissy the Car Fairy Burton and all of your other, sales reps that are under you, brother. I mean, it's been a privilege to be able to watch you, build your career and your people's career under you. So thank you for your expertise.
Man, God bless you guys for just having me on, man. Like I said, the only person I've ever done these with is y'all. But, for you guys just having me on, man, I'm just telling you, man, I'm so thankful. And I hope that someone can get something from it. I really do. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.